All right, welcome to CAPECAST. Tonight we will be reviewing the new Mandalorian episode. It's Chapter 10, The Passenger. We've got Brandon here. How you doing, Brandon?
Ahoy, ahoy.
And Al.
Hi.
How's it going?
Thanks for having me back. I guess I passed the test.
You made the cut.
Yeah. So don't worry, everybody. This isn't a normal thing. This will all be over soon.
Don't get cocky, Al.
Like, I'm saying they don't want me here. That's what I'm saying. So, it's like seeing your divorced parents in the same room. You're like, something's going to go wrong. You know.
Don't say BBS. Don't say BBS.
Ryan's taking a drink of water
So,
right now.
what'd you guys, I guess, first off, wanted to just kind of get general thoughts on the episode like we did last time. And I think we started with Al last time. Brandon, you fire away.
General thoughts. So I was pretty hard on the last episode. This episode I was actually pretty high on. I enjoyed it a lot. As far as like just little things that I'll say right now, and then we'll get into it later. But I just thought it was. We talked last time about wanting them to go to different locales, which they checked that off. And even though this was still kind of a, I guess what is it called? Not formulaic. What's the name of the episodic type format that they're doing? Procedural. Even though
let's just not know, man.
I have a problem with words.
I can't talk no good.
But yeah, even though it was still kind of a procedural format, which I assume they're just going to continue. You got to go get the thing, and then the episode's over, and it has like one little thing that tees up the next episode. Even though it still fell into that category, I still enjoyed the type. Like it kind of morphed into more of a suspense thriller type episode towards the end, like a little bit of creature feature type stuff. But yeah, I mean, there was a ton of stuff that I really dug, like the dogfight type stuff at the beginning. That was really cool. I thought it looked awesome, actually. Considered, I'm always impressed whenever they pull off something that's like. I just imagine they don't have a huge budget, and so when they do stuff that's not just like small, things.
The dogfight was like movie quality. It was freaky good.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. But yeah, overall, really dug it. So yeah, 2 thumbs up from me.
Good. Al?
They got you back. Welcome back, free subscription. Yeah, I thought, it was, I don't know. It's good. It took towards the end to hook me again. With the spiders or whatever those were. Yeah. I won't say, like some of the basic stuff was off, like we were talking about last week with the speeders and stuff like that. Like,
sure.
But some of like the shading when they were up next to the X-Wings, and they were trying to get clearance or whatever. It just didn't look real, like the shading was off and stuff. So took me out for a split second, like quarter of a second, if I want to nitpick. But again, the child is adorable, eating the eggs and all that stuff. It's made for kids.
Big point of contention on the internet this week.
It is. It really is.
Eating
and
eggs?
I'll be honest. We'll talk about it in a little bit. But
oh, good Lord.
I would like. It's exactly what I was thinking the whole time too.
Good
what
Lord.
Everybody's talking about.
I'm controversial. I won't be back next week now. So.
I didn't have a problem with the egg stuff. I'm going to go on record and say that. I think the people that have a problem just need to grow up.
I'm interested to know.
We'll talk about it in a few minutes.
I'm interested to know. But anyway, I it's one of those things kind of like I'm having a hard time remembering the dogfight part for whatever reason. I don't know why.
It's the X-Wings.
Did you say dog park fight?
It's a dog fight.
Yeah, this episode takes a hard left turn about halfway through.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I see what you're saying. Because last week there were those dogs in there, so I was like, "Hang on, were they back?" I was like, "That was last week." I was thinking to myself. So I took it literally. So anyway, but no, I mean, it was good. Anyway, we'll get into it. But yeah, I thought it was okay, and it's still
It was good.
got
No,
my,
it's okay.
It's got my interest still. How about that?
Here we go.
Find out what he really thinks in about 10 minutes.
My mom told me to be positive in other people's
say,
houses.
I'm never watching another one of these again.
It was a stinker.
What about you, Ryan?
This one was a tale of two halves for me. The first half I freaking loved. I loved everything to the point where the ship fell into the ice. Like, it was my favorite episode ever up to that point. That scene that you were kind of mentioning, the
spiders,
the X-wing,
yeah,
where they pull up on both sides, and he like looks over and the X folds go up, and he looks over and the X like on the other side and the X folds go up. I was like, yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Just like the Star Wars geek in me. And I don't think is that the first time they've shown X-wings in Mandalorian?
I think so. I can't remember them
I feel
doing
like it is
prior.
It's
Yeah.
I can
so
barely.
I thought that was
Once
cool.
they cut to the cockpits of those two guys, once they engage, and it's like full on, just look straight up 70s, like New Hope cockpit look. It looked like super grainy and like old school. And they cast, and two guys. Well, actually, one of the guys, remember our buddy Pedro from last week, Mr. Dave Filoni?
Oh yeah,
he was one of them in there.
Was he?
Yeah. It's hard
funny.
not to recognize him without his cowboy hat, but or it's hard to recognize him without it. But yeah, he was one of the guys. I don't know if he had any lines, but
yeah, I mean, it was tale of two halves for me. The second half, they survived the spiders. It's
so you didn't like that part?
I did not.
I know you're not like not that it's a zombie type movie or bit, but I know you're not into zombies. Does that play into that whole like creature?
Yeah, I will admit, even when I watch like Lord of the Rings or whatever, I'm not a huge fan of those moments in those movies. I don't know why that is. Maybe it is just not a huge creature feature.
You don't like the Shelob scene?
No. Like I don't hate it, but it's not like if I was going to point out parts of that movie that I really enjoyed.
Did either of y'all ever play the original Halo on?
Yeah.
So do y'all remember the Flood? Is what they were called, I think. The Flood was like this like race that had like things growing on the backs and had these little bitty spiders, and like that whole sequence reminded me so much of the sequences of Halo whenever they're having to fight the Flood.
Well, I just kind of feel like anytime there's a spider creature, spiders have kind of been played out because spiders and snakes are what so many people are afraid of. Yeah. And I still think the scariest thing in this episode was the frog lady because I'm terrified of frogs. So, it's like, so
you might be in the minority.
I mean, go figure. Anyway, so can we talk about the frog lady right quick?
Sure, go ahead.
Sure.
Okay.
We can start going.
Okay.
Let's dive in.
I don't want to. It's not my show, so I don't want to take over. So
it's your show, Al. This week.
So the frog lady. Did anybody else feel like that was a bad costume? Like the head was okay, but the rest of it was kind of like, ooh, I just felt like it looked like a costume to me. It looked like, oh, that's a human being. Sometimes you can suspend your disbelief and like, oh, okay, I can.
I guess it probably depends on how you're looking at it.
It was mostly the hands.
I was just kind of like, I always just think of Star Wars creatures as humanoid. So
what's it
I
like?
don't know.
And then the Mongolian throat singing, speaking that she was doing, like, like that kind of stuff. And and then Amy Sedaris could understand her, kind of like the Chewbacca thing. That's fine.
Her character's growing on me, by the way.
I like Amy Sedaris in general. I like her in general. She's really funny if you ever get a chance to go watch some of her other stuff. Now she's hit or miss, but some of her older stuff is really funny.
She does a good job of kind of I don't know, like
she camouflages
feeling
herself.
natural. Yeah, she feels really natural in that role, like in a really weird world.
Yeah. So and her brother's a really good writer. So if you ever get a chance, David Sedaris. But so anyway, so I didn't like the way they were communicating back and forth, because it was like Han Solo, except in the Solo movie, I think at one time he actually speaks Wookieese or whatever you want to call it. But it was unnecessary for her to be like, like try to speak that language back to her. And I thought that was kind of silly, because in the whole realm of Star Wars, like R2-D2, yeah, okay, nobody else speaks in beeps and bops and boops, and then nobody speaks in Wookiee to Chewbacca and things like that. And so I thought it was silly. It's nitpicky, I know, but I'm getting to the Frog Lady. The Frog Lady took me out of the episode, and that's why I didn't like the majority of the beginning, because she was in it a lot more, and it just felt like a bad costume from the neck down, like the eyes and everything. Oh, that was cool, but I just could tell it was a costume, and it took me out. And then the shading, like I was talking about on the ships and things like that, it was just, and then when, so it's stupid, I know, but that just kind of took me out of it for a minute. It just felt more like I said last week, it felt more like a Star Trek episode, and I don't like Star Trek at all. I just can't get into it. It's not like I hate it or anything. It's not my jam.
The costumes, I mean, I get what you're saying. I guess it just doesn't bother me, because even like, like in A New Hope, they just used a bunch of like extra masks and stuff that they had laying around for the different characters. You have like Devil Guy and Wolfman Guy, and they all look just like humans wearing, masks. And I mean, I thought,
and they look silly too. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can agree with you in that it looks kind of silly, but I just feel like with the other movies, it just kind of fits the same vein. Like, I don't know, that's just kind of
yeah.
It felt in line with like Akbar and all those other type characters to me, but
yeah,
maybe.
Sorry, so let's talk about Egggate.
Egggate.
What was this
controversy? Like, that's so weird,
Ryan.
So essentially, I don't know if it's really a controversy. It's more of just like a fun.
People didn't have anything better to do, so they just argue about stuff. Is that what it is?
I thought it was pretty
That's what
funny,
most
actually.
controversies are over.
Hey
morons, get over it.
The controversy is that this woman is traveling to try and like salvage her like whole race, like get her eggs to.
Was it her race, or was it just her own like lineage? I couldn't remember if it was.
I think it's their race.
I thought they said for the whole race, like whenever she took over that robot. I thought she said, but I could be wrong.
I'm pretty sure it's like her whole race. So, but then they're doing the Baby Yoda thing where she, I guess she, we don't know, but it's just
so this is a debate.
Chowing down on these eggs as the episode goes on.
They do call the child he a lot throughout this series, but Luna insists that this is a girl, obviously, and so that we call it Loda instead of Baby Yoda. And I'm actually interested to see if they actually pull one on the audience, and at one point when he if he ever gets the child to
pull up his little sweat jacket
to its own kind, they identify it as a female, not a male, and be able to say, "What? It was a girl the whole time."
Oh god!
See, I haven't even noticed that they've called it a guy.
They have. I mean, I'm also rewatching season 1 right now. I just know
he always calls him kid.
I think it'd be best if they just don't worry about it and just go on with the thing. But
I'm saying they're just going to do it to subvert expectations, because they are calling it a he, and just based off of whatever. And so I think that towards the end, when they reunite it with its kind, it's going to be like, oh, it's a girl. It's one of those things.
So
anyway, the eggs.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, so the idea is like they're making humor out of Baby Yoda chowing down on these.
Shut up.
This lady's eggs.
Shut up. People really.
What?
I'm not talking. I'm talking about the people that say that. Shut up. Like that's stupid.
Well, I don't think people are like angry about it. It's just like a funny discussion that's happening online. So I don't know. I think it is kind of like, as I was watching it, I was like, it happened once. I was like, okay, that's funny, and then like she just like keeps eating the eggs.
He loves those eggs. He doesn't know any better.
What?
Just a little kid.
Know.
Just a 60-year-old kid.
Well, did anybody else
just
think
committing
that,
genocide?
did anybody else think that like something was going to happen after he ate the spider egg? I thought something was going to
like an alien thing going on.
not something pop out of him, but I
Chest
thought it
burster.
was going to make him sick or something like that. I didn't think it was going to be a chest.
It was a very just him eating it. It was a very slimy, it was a very gross consumption of the spider.
And whenever he
the
ran
eggs
away
just
from
like stuck into his mouth.
yeah, when he ran away from the spiders when they were hatching, he was like,
Yeah,
it still
he
reminds.
floats.
Yeah, it continuously reminds me of Gizmo from Gremlins. So, so I guess it makes me happy in that regard. So I'll take it.
I loved the scene. I know. I agree. It was good for them to get off of Tatooine. I love the speeder scene at the beginning.
Yeah,
the jetpack and
the Raiders or whatever they were.
Yeah, where
that jetpack scene was actually. I loved the little like
so good.
like the child like looks up.
Yeah,
at
he's just
Mando and he's like,
yeah.
That was actually really good.
Yeah,
I thought
awesome.
the funniest part was. Well, not the funniest part. One of the funnier parts was when the frog lady's gone out and found a hot tub in the middle of this cold area, and she's trying to keep her eggs warm, and so child gets over there, and you just see the Mando's finger come in screen like no, like I thought that was pretty funny, and it's borderline like camp at this point, like the whole relationship between them, which I think is funny. I think it's getting pretty campy, and
yeah.
So
love that when they start that whole like spa scene, you just hear her going or something like weird. He walks in there and she's like, what's going on
as
here?
frog ladies do.
yeah. So but the one thing I want to say this show tends to do, and it's most Star Wars, I will say, but I don't understand it, is like, oh, we're down. Oh, I need the ship to start. Ship starts, automatically.
Yeah,
and
that
drives me crazy.
I was curious. It's like they had like just enough to get out of there, but they didn't try that, because I was like, how are they going to get out of here?
When that thing fell through the ice and just like sparks flying out of it all over the place. I was like, how are they planning on getting out of here? It's like oil spurting out of it, and then they basically asked for what would equate to a car jump. They turn him down, and all of a sudden he's like flying out of the cave.
Yeah, he's got a big hole in the side of his ship.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not in any kind of. I have no. I don't think there's any way that I could believe that they're going to kill off one or the other of the Mando or the child. They're not going to do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So there's no tension when they're in trouble for me. I'm just like, yeah, they're going to get out of it. I don't know how, but they're going to get out of it. I'm interested to see how they get out of it, but they're not going to.
I think a lot of that just comes with the that's the price of the Disney side of things.
Well, that and they
Star
can't get
Wars
rid
now.
of their two main characters. They can't get rid of the child because that's the moneymaker, and they can't get rid of the Mandalorian because that's
the name of the show.
Name of the show. So,
he's going to look for more Mandalorians. Maybe we'll get a sub.
yeah. So, but anyway, I've always thought that was kind of lame how the ship starts automatically when they absolutely need it to. So
I appreciated that they at least, and I 100% agree with you, but I appreciate that they at least paid attention to like pressurizing the cockpit when they left. So like they at least like did something that would indicate that they're able to.
Yeah. What did you guys think about when the frog lady spoke through the robot?
I can take it or leave it. I mean, it didn't really bother me. I mean, I liked that it was, that they. I guess it was a little bit of a not necessarily a payoff, but a callback to that robot from last season towards the middle.
That was one of the things that it was one of the funnier tweets I saw about the egg controversy. I think it's one of the Screen Rant guys, but he basically said, I've wired this droid to relay the message to you that it's so important that we get these eggs to this planet so that my race survives. And then in parentheses, Yoda eats another egg. And, oh, you rascal! Like how trivial, but at the same time like really important it is.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, they were unfertilized, so they're just food at that point.
Yeah.
Can't blame the kid.
I wonder if the child has had those before because it was so drawn to him, like it was like a Star Crunch or something.
What were you guys?
Maybe they'll delve into that later this season now, and we'll get answers if he's had them before. Flashback sequence. Oh, that's why he likes those eggs.
What did you guys think
makes
about?
Sense now.
Like before he ate the first egg, he did use the force through the canister and pulled them all to one side of the canister. Was there?
Yeah, I thought he was gonna fry them up.
I felt like that was kind of weird. I was expecting something more than I felt like he was gonna do something with the force to communicate with it or something, but he just pulled them over and then started eating them.
I mean, he's practical. Uses it for what he needs it,
All right. I guess it's just
makes sense. Makes sense to me.
Okay.
What did you guys think about the direction? So last episode was Jon Favreau directed. This episode was Peyton Reed from the AntMan movies and a lot of comedy movies from early 2000s, Bring It On and The Breakup. But yeah, I mean, most recently he's a Marvel guy, Ant-Man and Ant-Man and the Wasp.
The camera work definitely stood out from episode 2 to 1 to me.
It was still written by Favreau.
Correct. They're kind of holding the directors close to the chest this season. I know that Robert Rodriguez is directing one that actually came out, but they haven't listed directors for any of the ones on IMDb.
I'm interested in that for sure. See how they do that because
Al's going to re-review this episode when he finds out it's Robert Rodriguez directed. And he's like, this was the best episode I've ever seen.
You mean Tarantino was there? No, I'm interested. But I don't know. I mean, to be honest with you, I didn't see much difference to me.
Yeah, I mean,
that's different.
That's honestly for a show. You kind of don't want to. You kind of, for the most part, you kind of want it to be in sync with the rest of the series. But
I just felt like there were a lot more dramatic shots. Looking back on the last episode, maybe some shots where they were doing with the Great Dragon end scene, but I thought some of the speeder shots at the beginning of this one, and then obviously the dogfight, some of that stuff was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's just interesting. It's always interesting to see if you can point out traits from directors like Taika's episode last season. You could definitely tell a lot of the humor was kind of in line with his stuff. But I'm definitely looking forward to the Rodriguez episode just to see if he kind of brings his own little flair to it in moments. But
yeah, it'd be nice. It'd be nice.
This one didn't really. One thing that I did notice about this one is I felt like it's the first episode where I didn't really feel like, other than getting out of Tatooine, I didn't feel like there wasn't really any furthering of like the main plot.
Yeah, I mean that's been a complaint that we've talked about.
I mean, usually you get like a little bit, like a nugget or something. I felt like we didn't even get that. At the end
like
of this one.
now we've got 2 baddies that haven't appeared like in a second episode. We've got the guy from last season, Moff, whatever, and then we got the guy that showed up.
Old Moth, whatever.
Old Moth, whatever.
I don't care. And then the guy that showed up at the end of the last episode.
Boba Fett.
Boba. Yeah, Boba Fett.
Sure.
Come on, Al.
You may have heard of him before. Star
Sure.
This is how
Wars.
you earn repeat visits to CAPECAST.
You know the guy.
I mean, whatever. So we haven't seen either one of them, and
It's
there's
true.
not been any breadcrumbs or anything. There's just
Right.
like, yeah, this happened. So
It'd
hope
be
they don't get
interesting
canceled.
to see how. Yeah, it would really suck to go through like this whole season and not see Moff Gideon until like episode 7 or something.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
don't know.
everything in Star Wars, there's. It seems like the whole entire,
episode 7.
I guess, corporation of Star Wars now is so reactionary to what the audience says. So it's like, how was that received? Is he even going to be back this season?
Well, people loved him, like at least from what I've read online. I don't know if Brandon you've seen differently, but
I didn't see anything negative, but people love Giancarlo Esposito just in general. So anything that he's in, people flock to. So,
Really?
yeah, dude. Breaking Bad was like put him in a different caliber in terms of fandom, and then
The Boys.
He's on The Boys recently.
Nobody's.
Let's
flocking
talk about The
because
Boys.
he's there.
I'm saying that people, he's a character actor. People love seeing him and stuff. So it's not like, he's became.
I've seen. Yeah.
As
I've
far
seen
as
him in a bunch of
TV
stuff
is
over the years.
concerned, he's just like a go-to. Like you want to get a good character actor, get Esposito, and he'll deliver. He's solid.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like, I don't think they'll hold him till towards the end like they did last season. I think they introduced him at the end of episode 7, and then just one episode with him in 8. But I think he'll be.
fingers crossed.
We'll see.
All right,
But
boys.
yeah, I agree with you though. I mean, they do need to make some headway and just figure out what. I mean, obviously, I guess the plot this season is getting the child to his people, but it seems like it may take a detour at some point.
Yeah. I would be shocked if it didn't, to some extent at least. Especially, they keep opening all these relationships and nothing's closed. So at some point, they gotta dig back into that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Cool.
But,
2 thumbs up
all right,
from me.
gents. Okay, so episode 1 to episode 2 overall, stock up or down for you guys?
Up for me.
It's flat. Same.
Sounds about right. I'm up as well.
Beep. Beep.
Flatline.
Yeah.
For Al.
Al's.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not
Al's a
saying that at
goner.
all. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying
I got you.
it is what it
Sure.
is. I mean, I'm still enjoying it, but I mean, I don't have the spark yet that I had last season. I'll be honest with you. I kind of feel right now like I did episode 5-ish last season. Like
Gotcha.
I'm still interested, but they need to do something soon.
Speaking of which, we just
It's like your
watched.
Netflix subscription.
We just watched episode 5 tonight with Luna.
What's your favorite episode?
And I was
again?
like,
No.
"Ooh, this is not, this is not a great episode." Oh
Episode-
man,
oh,
that kid.
Mando.
I know this is off topic, but that kid, that Bobby Cannavale's son,
Yeah, he's bad.
not good.
Yeah,
not
I wanted to
good at
punch
all.
him in the face the whole episode.
You should have. Should have did
I
that.
should.
Punched your
I'll get
TV.
to it.
It's got real dark.
Al's got a
guys.
bunch of broken TVs over the side of his house. Keeps punching his TVs.
He put sticky notes on each one with the movie that made it.
He was like
made it
one of those
happen.
guys in the Matrix movie that was in the theater with me. So I'm just saying.
Yeah. We all know how long you've held that grudge. So
So,
For those interested, please check out our the Matrix review on CiNEMACHiNE.
Yeah.
The episode that almost wasn't.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, guys. You have anything else you want to add to this one, or?
I don't think
No.
so. It's interesting that this show doesn't do a next on like most shows do, like next time, like every show, even like
actually
Game
I
of
like
Thrones.
that.
I hate those things.
Yeah,
Can't
I'm
stand
kind of
them.
glad they do it. They don't do it.
Yeah.
yeah.
I do also appreciate the previously on
Well,
for
just
this show for
I-
whatever reason.
Oh, I skipped that.
yeah.
Well, it's a good summary for me. I don't know.
I'm always hesitant to watch them because often they'll like bring up things like, oh, remember this? This is going to get paid off this episode, so it kind of spoils
I gotcha.
things.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting because it's week to week that they don't do a next on. I'm not saying I don't care that they do or don't, but
Sure.
if it was a binge thing, it wouldn't make sense. But yeah, it's just interesting.
Cool. All right, guys. I think that wraps it up for the week. And just so you guys know, we are on Twitter at CAPECAST Show. And Brandon is our lovely Twitter guru. He loves talking with folks. So
Sometimes.
feel free to hit us up on there. No, you love it.
I'm not on there at all, so y'all can talk bad about me all you want to. So
Yeah, we learned that a long time ago. All right. Well, I guess we'll see you guys next week. We'll be reviewing Chapter 11. And
Whatever it's called.
Exactly.
That's what it's called.
thanks for having me.
Bye-bye.